Last week we offered an analogy, and it's one that we've spattered in and out for a long time. Imagine you standing at the top of a hill. Maybe you're in San Francisco. It's a good place to envision. And your car's there. It's out of gear. The parking brake isn't on. It's just sitting there. Gravity is just holding it there. And something just nudges it, maybe even a little wind current, and it just barely begins to roll downhill, just barely. But you're standing right there, and you're aware of what's comfortable and what's not comfortable. So you just step in front of it, put your knee against the bumper, and that stops that. That's all it took. It was so simple. But let's say you're used to things being uncomfortable, and so you weren't alarmed in the discomfort because you're used to it. And so momentum began. And so you go all the way down to the bottom of the hill, and you're watching it come at you, and you say, I got it. I got this. I got this. I got this. And it's not that comfortable. It would have been way easier earlier. Jerry used to offer the analogy of sitting before the fireplace with a fire is chink a pin, pop, 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 pop. And it lands on your sweater. And if you do this, all is well. If you don't, it will burn a hole in your sweater pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And so conceptually, it's just a matter of being aware. But it's not monitoring thought and guiding thought. It's caring about resonance, which means resonance with what? Resonance with all that is good. Resonance with every request I've ever made, with what I put into my vortex before I was born, with what I've been adding to it ever since. Resonance. And what you begin to discover as you find that resonance is that you find yourself sometimes doing something that you said you wouldn't do, but doing it with confidence and certainty because it fits. It fits with all that you are. You're not weighing the pros and the cons anymore. You're not saying to this person, what do you think? And what do you think? And what do you think? Because I'm trying to find this right action in all the possible actions. Instead, because you've come into resonance with who you really are and with all that you want, this clarity about the action that's going to move you toward what you want is just so obvious and so vivid and so not controverted. There's no contest. It's like you don't feel like you need to ask anybody because and that's what that true inspiration is that you're reaching for, you see. This is a big conversation, and you felt it on every level. We know you did.
Yes.
It's just a matter of being easy about it and caring about resonance with Source. Because Source is standing over there in alignment with all that you are, all that you've become vibrationally. And that resonance leads you to the path of that. And so then you discover that this conversation isn't about action or non-action, because there's a whole lot of action involved. When that resonance comes, your inspiration to move forward in a direction is very, very powerful.
Yeah, I feel sometimes that I'm so much in my head and trying to wrestle this thing to the ground and stop it and fix and change things that I don't want. And
let us give you something really fun. You're going to like this. When you're struggling in your head, that means you got all this contradictory energy going on, and you're not in your grid, you're not in alignment, and so it's a struggle because you're outside of alignment. Mm-hmm. When you take the time to get into alignment by being general and getting out ahead of things, then it doesn't feel like struggle in your head. It feels like this is what I'm going to do. It feels like a good idea. It feels like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then you find yourself saying things with confidence and certainty, because you're in complete alignment, you see. Mm-hmm. So we've said it in a lot of different ways over time. We've said, get into the vortex and then. Esther, we've teased about her. She would say, I don't have time to meditate. And we would say, you don't have time not to meditate. Why not take the time to do the thing that prepares the grid so that everything can be realized, so that you can realize a good idea? Realize. Can you feel the difference in the way? Realize it, manifest it, experience it, actualize it, be aware of it, observe it, see it, comprehend it, get it, so that you can get it. So that you can be in the gettable, itable place. Get it. Mm-hmm. I can get it. And the reason I'm getting it is because I stopped the struggle, because the struggle felt uncomfortable. Esther said to herself a lot because there were things she didn't want to think about and things that she couldn't keep from thinking about. They were things that had happened. They were like emblazoned on her brain, so she kept thinking about it. She didn't want to think about them, and so she started saying, well, that was unpleasant. Well, that was unpleasant. After a while, she started saying, well, that was unnecessary. Well, that was unnecessarily unpleasant. Until after a while, she just started talking herself into more pleasant thoughts about more things. Until it's really rare now that something comes up that gives her a flashback that she doesn't want to have active in her vibration, you see. Mm-hmm. That was unpleasant. Why am I pondering that? It's like tasting something that tastes awful and saying to your friend, oh, try that. That's just awful.
Yeah.
Any struggle you ever feel is because you are out of resonance with who you are.
Yes.
So stop it.
Okay. Thank you.
This is the perfect time for a segment of refreshment.